All right, we are live. We are live. We are all the way live. Hello, everyone. It is me, Reiki Master Allison, here with my girl, my boo, Danielle. Hey,
Hey.
Danielle. Oh, my goodness. I was like, ooh, I can't wait for us to talk because, for those who are new here, Danielle and I, we did a talk not last week, but the week before, and we had so much fun. We're doing it again, and we're going to keep doing it until Spirit tells us that we don't need to do it no more.
Correct.
But in the meantime, in between time, we are here today because we're going to be talking about something that both of us love to talk about, and that is holistic or alternative medicine. And just first of all, why we're both so glad that alternative medicine is now becoming the norm.
And it really is traditional medicine.
Thank you.
It's
That part.
traditional medicine. Let's stop. I am taking back that word. I'm not calling it alternative medicine.
Yes,
It's traditional medicine.
it is traditional medicine. It is very much traditional. It is the traditions that Black people, Indigenous people, and other people of color have had for centuries, millennia even,
Yes,
where it has worked on our people
absolutely.
before all the big pharma stuff came along.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I know that if I think I'm having a heart attack, do I want to be at a hospital? Absolutely. Do I want an EKG? Absolutely. Um, but I really don't need pills to be thrown at me if not needed. Don't get me wrong. Like I love that we have birth control, right? Because that does come back to body autonomy. But and not but and I like that it's a choice. And for some people it works and for some people it doesn't. And so don't get me wrong, there are positives to Western medicine. My my thing is that we're overusing it
Yes.
almost everywhere. Now there are some
Hmm.
great things about it, right? Understanding chemistry, science, all that good stuff. It's wonderful to know those things. Um, but in the end, we are so screwed up. We are so screwed up because we are no longer using traditional medicines. We are no longer, or what we're doing is we're doing ghetto versions because something is hot. That was actually a conversation I was having earlier today with a friend where I
Really.
said yes because I said we were going to talk today and I said for one of the things like let's talk about how turmeric is so hot. Everybody's talking about turmeric, turmeric, turmeric. Turmeric takes away pain. Turmeric does this. Black pepper does this. Take those two things. But what people are not considering, because yes, turmeric is great, but its property is hot.
Yeah.
And so this is so people are going, oh, I'm just going to start taking turmeric. And then it works for a minute and then they plateau and they don't understand what's happening. You have to balance things out with herbs. I mean, this is the thing is that we're taking little pieces. And what we should be doing is going back to the traditional medicine. People don't usually say, oh, you take one herb. It's
Right.
let me build a formula. It doesn't matter if it's traditional Chinese medicine or if it's Ayurveda, or if we're even using traditional African medicine. Either way, it's a combination of herbs that go into what your medicine is, not
Yes.
just taking these single herbs and then going, I don't understand why I'm constipated now, or I don't understand why I'm hot all the time, or why is everything still hurting? I'm just going to double my dose of turmeric. And I am not knocking turmeric
Oh,
because it is so good. It's the but have you actually talked to somebody and
right.
really who understands earth medicine. Doesn't
Exactly.
matter what region it's coming from.
Because the turmeric can actually still work,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
like, but what if you've got some things that maybe you need some clove to help you?
Correct.
You
People are,
know,
yes.
yeah. Like, what if you've got some digestive issues and you need to start taking using clove in
Right.
order for all of that with the turmeric to work? You got to start putting a little clove in there with a little bit of lemon as well because you need to detox. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So,
Exactly. It's the balancing it out, and instead of taking these, oh, I heard this is hot right now. And we have this tendency to do that because we are in a heavily Western medicine driven country, right? That is for profit. It's not
mhm.
universal. We're not even going to get onto that because I will get up on my platform and I got lots to say, but whatever. We're going to restraints.
Girl, I don't
um,
know if I can do that, but you know, because here's the thing, and I'm being totally transparent right now. I was prescribed three different medications for my blood pressure, my high blood pressure. One of them is the main blood pressure pill, and the other two is like a water pill, and then the other does something else. I don't remember. Um, I actually stopped taking the other two and just took the main and started doing things like drinking garlic tea, um, having beetroot juice in my life, drinking hibiscus tea, and doing other things along with drinking water, walking, watching my diet and everything else. And guess what? My blood pressure has been just fine. It's
Great.
been just fine without taking those other two. Because when I took those other two, you know what I had? Shortness of breath. My muscles were sore. I would have night sweats, even more so than the perimenopause is doing. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah.
It would dehydrate me to where I could never drink enough water. So, all these different things that medication used to do, and I know, I'm sure a bunch of people's hearts were like, oh, she stopped taking it. Yes, I did. And I feel so much better than I did taking that medicine. Now, I'm not telling nobody to get off your medication if it's really helping you. But my thing was, they actually weren't helping me. It wasn't making my blood pressure any lower. And I actually had to tell my doctor that the reason why I think my blood pressure is the way it is, not just the fact of my obesity, which, I'm working on that, but also kind of marry in that the symptoms of menopause, perimenopause, which also elevates like your blood pressure, makes you more anxious. Because my anxiety, I was like, why is my anxiety on 10?
Oh, yeah, yeah, that's perimenopause.
Yeah.
That's perimenopause of
So,
a black woman, particular. I mean, because there's layers within layers there. It's
mhm,
not just perimenopause, but you add in the extras.
yes. So, I don't want to go on a tangent about stuff either, but I'm just saying, I love that you said we're going to go back and reclaim the word traditional medicine because that's,
Yeah,
in fact, what it is. It's
it
traditional.
is. It's traditional. It's stuff that's been passed down. I can speak while my degree is in Chinese medicine, and that is what I can, speak on terms of formulas, the history, all of it. I can tell you when I started though, my grandfather was like, "Oh yeah." Now, we're talking about my grandfather on my white side, not my Haitian side, but that on my white side, he was like, "Oh yeah, my mom used to cut me when I was sick." You can go through
Mm,
almost any, and that's the thing is that I understand there's a reason for pharmaceuticals in terms of, yes, they, part of it was figuring out how to create insulin. And
Yes.
that was a big change. Now it's drastically changed because now okay, I'm getting into a tangent again. I already
It's
hear
all
it
right.
coming. But, because now we're just overcharging something that
Yes.
should be given. It was created when they figured out how to make insulin, that, and extract so that they could actually give it as medication. It was meant to save lives, not um be what it is now. You know what it is? So there was a reason for it. There was, to be good, because diabetes used to be just a death sentence. There was no, you going to die from it
Yeah.
one way or another. So
Right.
while that's where the big turn took, in the end, I mean, granted, like I said, my grandfather, who has Swedish roots, was talking about cupping. That traditional medicine is something that's used. There's different things. We do have a version of, we talk about cupping in Chinese medicine. We see it all the time. And now we see athletes who are getting cupping done for their myofascial pain. But we also use cupping for colds. We use cupping when, there's different things that we do. And that's the part, is that, yes, have we mainstreamed it in different places? But,
Right.
in Ayurvedic medicine, they use cupping. It's not unique to Chinese medicine alone. Most people know it that way now. But
Yeah.
you go through, you got bone setters. That doesn't matter where you at. Like, there's always going to be a bone setter. You've got your herbalists, those who know. Yeah, and then that even turned then into those who became chemists, and we've got big pharma. But the whole point being is that we need to go back to the more traditional medicine because it's not working the way it is. And that goes to the point of, did you, and by no means are we telling anyone to stop any type of medication. By all
Right.
means, you need to discuss this with your doctor.
Yes.
But a lot of doctors will just automatically prescribe for the greater good, going, well, this outweighs this, so we're going to give you this. And instead of saying, do we really need to do it, they automatically prescribe because they know the known side effects. And
Right.
sometimes it is a greater good. If we say, hey, BT Dubs, we've got to you've got to get on gabapentin because you've got shingles and that helps the nerve pain, but it makes you drowsy. Oh, okay. Well, you want to sleep it off anyways because you're in so much pain.
Right.
But so there's reasons to do some
Oh yeah.
stuff, but
Oh yeah.
we're not getting back to, are we actually treating the root cause?
Right. And
Are we
then
treating that?
right. Yeah, and that's exactly right with any of it and all of it. It's we're at a point where everything breaks out the prescription pad. I've noticed that, and me and someone else were talking about this like a couple of like months ago. It's a notice that doctors really don't even talk about your diet anymore.
No.
They don't try to hook you up with a nutritionist. They don't try to, unless you bring it up. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some good doctors out there that still hold fast to the, diet, exercise, eat right. When I say diet, I mean like monitoring your diet of what you're eating.
Right.
Um, but it's so many doctors now, it's like that's not the focal point. Half of the problems, and I know this, of course, everyone, we all know this, half of the problems is actually what's on our plate, what's
Correct.
going in our body. Um,
Yeah.
but then there's also, can we get to the root cause as to why we're eating the way we're eating? We're over consuming. Like for me, I'm an emotional eater. When I'm like emotional, I'll eat. I'll, try to eat my pain, or I'll be so emotional that I can't eat. And then when I finally do, I'm overeating, if that
Right.
makes sense.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Because then you're scarfing and you're going past you're eating too fast for your brain to recognize that you're full. And by that time, no, girl, I get it. I'm I am an emotional, most of us are. It's funny because in my practice, I ask questions and it's funny. Like I used to shy away from it when I first started as an acupuncturist. Like, oh, how do I bring these questions up? And so now in the 10 questions, and some of it is how comfortable you are, right? So I'm asking, as we're working our way, I always start from the top of the head all the way down. But as we're working, I ask, so are you hungry or do you eat because you're supposed to eat?
Right.
And you would not believe how many people, when I ask them, they're like, oh, snap. Some people really, they're like, I don't eat. I eat because I'm supposed to eat. And then
Right.
I'm like, or the other question I ask, I'm like, are you 3 meals a day or are you a grazer? Or are you 6 meals a day? Like there's so many things to do. But then working through, yeah, how's your poop? Let's talk about it. Like it's so funny. Somebody just did a TikTok because my sister sent it to me about on Netflix. They're talking about the microbiome of your gut health.
Hmm.
And as I was like, yeah, yeah. And this woman's response on TikTok was like, my mind is blown. And I'm like, how are we not talking about this on the regular? Because I know
Right.
this. I definitely know how much in particular, and that if I would have known even 20 years ago that like what I'd be talking about every day, then I'm like, all right, do you pee as much as you drink, less than, etc.? Do you poo? Like, how often do you poop? What does it look like, etc., etc.? But then even talking about, and this is the part that like people forget to ask is, yes, we talk about for women our cycles, but we don't ask the question. Doctors don't ask about libido or even talking about it with men. And my question is, and the answers vary everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's, some people are like, well, actually, now that you ask, but a lot of responses are, you know what, thank you for asking that question. My doctor's never once asked me that question. We have to look at the whole body. And this is why I advocate for traditional medicine. Should you see a naturopathic doctor, an Ayurvedic practitioner, Chinese medicine practitioner, whoever you see, find somebody that, one, you feel seen and safe. Because the more
Absolutely.
you disclose, the better help you can get. Like really and truly, like I did not understand how, I mean, that's my mission, right, is to create a safe space. But how important it is, because I've had it where I have been dismissed. I've had it where it's like, no, 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 you're fine. And it's like, no, 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 no. Why are you dismissing what? And I didn't know until one of my friends who was um, a patient advocate at a big hospital said, did you know you could tell your doctor, hey, can you document why you refuse this? And so now I educate my patients when they see me, and I said, okay, I want you to, go to the doctor. And I, like I'm staying in my scope. So I know when to refer out and say, hey, no, you need to go. You need to
Yeah.
go get this checked out. Um, but if for whatever reason, somebody, a doctor said, or nurse practitioner, whoever your primary care is,
Hmm.
says, no, I'm not going to do that, your next response needs to be, and I know it's hard to remember, is, okay, can you please document that I asked for this and then you denied it? And I would like a copy of that in my chart. Like, I want to see that it's in my chart. And yes, that may seem a little abrasive and you have to get used to it. But man, oh man, you want to see how fast they'll do something once you've said, please write down that you are denying me service that I am asking for, and I'm giving you my reason. And mine was particularly over ovarian cancer because I did have a friend die
Hmm.
17 days after diagnosis at 30.
Ooh.
And so, and this is one of those things, being a woman, she was a lawyer, crap ass diet because, you know, you're a
Yeah.
lawyer. You eat what you can, when you can, do what you can. And then she passed out at work. And they
Oh
took her to the
wow.
hospital and found out that her whole body, like she didn't go for checkup. So I am adamant about advocating for yourself. I mean, yes, you should go do your annual checkups. I'm going to tell everybody on here who's watching this, whether you like Western medicine or not, do the thing. Do the thing. It's there for a reason. Now,
Yes.
you like in the end, it's starting to get dark in here. I'm realizing it that it's been storming on and off in Chicago lately. So
Okay.
if I'm getting a little darker, it's because another storm's going to roll in.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
but it's yes, go get your annual checkups, go get your mammograms. And I understand people get concerned about radiation and all those things, but there's things you can do preventatively. Like that is a service that we have, right? And it's taking
Right.
advantage. We should not be scared. And if
Absolutely.
you because somebody will. I mean, some of the stuff I have to sit through is just I realize that when patients come and see me, it is sometimes they just need somebody to explain it to them and hold their hand.
Yeah.
That yes, I'm there to help them and make change with needles and herbs and all that as an acupuncturist, but also, hey, I'm going to listen to you and then I'm going to say, okay, this is where we're at.
Right.
What do you want? What are we trying to do?
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because, you know, and I'm glad you said that about going to the doctor and advocating for yourself. Because we know, especially as Black people, we're not always heard. You know, we'll go to the doctors and we're not always listened to. And I think for me, that's been the most frustrating thing as of late is, you know, I'm the one that lives in this body. So
Yes.
nobody knows more of what's happening in my body than me. So if I'm telling you this is what I feel I need and you're denying me, and I never thought about that. So thank you for sharing that about saying that about them refusing and then writing that in your chart.
I want it in my chart and then I would like a copy of it so that I have it because then they can't get around it. They can't
Yeah,
like it needs to be documented that they denied service for whatever it is. Now, don't I mean, and we're talking about realistic stuff. Like, I get
yeah,
it. If a doctor says, yeah, no, I'm not going to give you cosmetic surgery because of
right,
this, I'm not, we're talking about those things. Like,
right,
ask for those things, especially when you have a true concern.
exactly.
And if your doctor is refusing to listen, walk out the door. Unfortunately, there are not enough Black doctors out there or Black healthcare professionals to accommodate everybody, or they're taking new patients because most of them are full. I get it. Well, I have gone through. Let me find this. I let me find this. Let me see what's happening. Like, and I flip through doctor after doctor, and it's like, yeah, no, this one is completely full. No, this one already left this hospital. No, this is not happening. And it's like, okay, so nothing is up to date.
Mm,
But you've got to figure out what you're looking for. And I mean, the biggest thing is finding somebody who's empathetic, who will take the time.
yes,
And Virgo Bliss, I see that you didn't feel that you were heard, and I'm sorry. That's sucky. It's so frustrating when you don't feel heard. And by all means, like, stay strong with it. Sometimes people are having a bad day. I hope I'm not trying to dismiss by any means. Hopefully, your therapist was just having a, a bad day and was not showing up. But if that wasn't the first time, this is your sign. Go find another therapist. Please do.
yeah,
Please do. Lord
yeah,
knows it took me forever to find mine. And when I did, I haven't stopped seeing it. She's stuck with me. I'm like, if I got to pay cash, I'm going to pay cash because, when you find somebody that, and when at first it felt rough, but also we were in the middle of a pandemic when I found her. And
yeah,
now, that's another thing. I'm glad you brought up, you know, feeling heard with your therapist, and I really want to talk about how that plays into physical health. Mental health and physical health go together. They really do. And
Yes.
people don't understand that you need to have both. Just they balance each other. If you're not, your mental health will go to crap, or we can go either way. They one
Yeah.
begets the other. If you are not eating foods that nourish your body, it's going to affect your microbiome health, and then it will then create more mental problems. It really does. Been there, done that.
Hmm.
I know. um
Same.
my sister can tell you, I know she's out there listening somewhere, um how many times that she's like, oh, you ate sugar, because of
Mm.
how drastically it hits my body. And that then I am so paranoid. I am so sad. I am all over the place. You might as well just it's horrible. So, and medication is hard. It's finding I Virgo Bliss, I totally understand as a black woman, like, that you didn't expect that for medication.
Yes,
But
Mo.
yeah, she's like, it's true. She calls me out. Sorry. It's true. Um, Medication isn't the worst though. Sometimes the only reason I say this is it saved my life at one point. At least to take the edge off, even with bad experiences, and it is finding the right med.
Right.
Um, but antidepressants or anti-anxiety meds, sometimes we do need them. They are not a forever thing.
Mm-mm.
And there's so, because some of them do some really bad stuff. I can attest. I've had to flip through. I've had to, but I've had them at very dark times in my life where I am grateful, and it pulled me back from the abyss. And then I did the work, and the more that I do the work and work towards my purpose, things are getting better. Don't get me wrong, things are knocking me down left and right. Once again, my sister can attest to my crazy stories, but it's hard. It's hard when somebody says, especially if you're saying, I had a bad experience with, Lexapro, because that was my bad experience. It's great though for people who have heart problems. It
Hmm.
is the safest one on the market for heart problems. Me, I didn't have a heart problem. Instead, it shut me off and I felt absolutely nothing and I could not function. I could function, but I functioned like a robot. I could not empathize with my patients. I could not do things. Um, I didn't have joy either. And so that was a little too much. I found, though, other things have helped. But, anyways, enough,
Yeah.
enough about my story. All I'm saying is I'm identifying with you, Virgo Bliss, and that I see you, and try to work through it.
Yes, absolutely. And Goddess Bliss, of course, because she is one of my beautiful Reiki students, and
Oh,
she is a certified Reiki master. Um,
woo,
so
woo.
her stepping forth and speaking her truth, she's always so brilliant in doing that. And Goddess Bliss, yeah, the side effects are like a bitch. Like they really are. And it's like Danielle said, it's finding that right one, which unfortunately you kind of just have to go through the motions and find the one that actually works. But don't stop advocating for yourself.
Yes, keep advocating. And I do
Yeah.
want to chime in and say, go get some acupuncture. Go, and if budget doesn't allow to go, because I don't know what city you're in, look to see if there's a school to get student treatments. Lord knows, I in Chicago I had one $5 treatments or $40 treatments. Makes it way more affordable if it's not something like, use the resources that are out there. And if you want to give your information to Allison, I will happily see if I know somebody in whatever city you're in, if that's what you need. But like, there's other things out there. So yeah, go get some acupuncture. Changed my life. It really did, and it helped me get off my meds when I needed to. So if you don't want to necessarily go on meds, please, please go do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Good stuff. But you definitely want to lean into your Reiki practice to help continue with your self healings, to help you kind of get that anxiety to come down and to kind of just like raise your vibration a little bit, because it can help.
Yes.
Using all these traditional medicines incorporated. And that's the thing for me, with me and Danielle, this is something, oh honey, we talk about this stuff all the
All the
time,
time.
all the time.
All the time.
But it's like both traditional medicine, see what I did there,
Yes,
and
yes.
Western medicine have a place where they
They
could
do.
work together beautifully. But it's finding that balance and understanding that there's no hallelujah, I'm healed moments. It's gonna be a process. Either way, it's going to be
Yes.
a process. So it's really more, what it comes down to is, are you willing to do the work? There's no getting around work at all with any of it. And I'm not talking about you specifically, God is blessed, love you. But I'm talking about for all of us. It's like none of this stuff works unless we work it. Because I
Yes.
could go to Danielle and Danielle could give me acupuncture until I look like a porcupine. But if after I get off of her table, I go back and do some of the same stuff that got me on her table, then it's done in vain. And I just paid her, which I'm sure she enjoys money. I mean, who doesn't?
Right, right. And people want to burn, but oh, that brings me to something else. Keep
Yeah,
going. I'll remember.
yeah, but it's the whole thing is doing the work. And I think that's what I was really trying to get to earlier when I was talking about how we are getting overly medicated.
Yeah.
Is making us skip the work to where we're depending on the chemicals to make us better, or to at least keep us alive, you know, instead of us doing what we need to do so that we don't necessarily need those pills. We can go to more natural, traditional routes and stick with that more so than the Western medicine, if that makes sense.
Yes. It makes sense. No, because what I wanted with doing the work, right? Because yes, we are an instant gratification society now, right? We are all Veruca salt, especially with Amazon, right? I want it now. I want
Yeah.
it now. If we could wave those magic wands, doesn't matter. Okay, great, but we got to with doing the work, and this also comes back because I was talking about this too, is setting realistic expectations everywhere. And you said it that you could come get on my table. And the reality is, yes, you can come, and yeah, you're not going to make every change overnight. But one of the things, it's even when you start seeing, doesn't matter, pick your practice. It's not a one and done. It's not, oh, hey, I can guarantee in 10 sessions, I'll take this away, or in 5 sessions. Because we know when we buy a car, you have to fill the gas tank, right? If it run, you got to make sure your oil is changed and it's filled. And if you have an oil leak, you got to fix it. But you have to get tune-ups. You have to get everything flushed and different things at different times, right? Only because
Yes.
I just went in for yet another flat tire, which, whatever. But it was like, hey, you need to do this at 30,000 miles. You needed to do this at 20,000 miles, and this one's coming up, and they're like, this is what you need. And of course, right away, I'm going, okay, I can't do it all today, but I can do one here. And then the next time I come in, and I'll do another one. And then the next one, I'll do the next one so that I stay regular. We have no problem doing this for a car. It is a materialistic item. Yes, it gets us around, but are our bodies not getting us around? And why aren't we putting the
Right.
money into our bodies? That is the question. I know I do, but that's because I live this, right? I have learned if I don't see my therapist every week to deal with whatever's happening with patients, whatever's going on, so that I have a safe space to decompress. And that if I don't get body work every other week, my body falls apart. Lord knows my back went out the other day because I didn't get a massage until like a month. I went 4 weeks because I decided to put work instead of in front of my self-care. No, my body has told me my routine is every 2 weeks. I got to do something. And I wish this is, I don't wish, this is something that we all need to wake up and realize is our
Right.
bodies, if we want to stick around and have like actually functioning, well oiled machines, it
Hmm.
requires us doing those oil changes. It's, everybody has a sweet spot for what it is, because I get asked all the time, if somebody's like, so how many sessions do you think? And I say the same thing to everybody. It doesn't change. I can look up studies and say, okay, yeah, it says if you do this many acupuncture treatments for this particular condition, this many times a week for 4 weeks, okay, that's great. The reality is, though, people can't come in and see you every day or three
Right.
times a week. I tell them if we're trying to focus on something, one, it didn't happen overnight as much as it feels like it. But two, understanding that like you've got, I want to see somebody once a week for 4 weeks. And then we switch to every 2 weeks and do 4 treatments. And then we try to switch it out one more week to go to every 3 weeks. And you will find your own sweet spot
Yeah.
and you'll know what you need. I've got somebody I've been seeing for 9 years and she hers is once a month. And she's like, no, that's just my oil change. I get my oil changed. I'm good. I'm good. I'll see you in a month. Well worth every penny.
Right.
Why aren't we
And
doing that?
because we're programmed to only think of the superficial. So we don't mind getting our hair done, nails done, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Right,
There's
right, right.
nothing wrong with that.
Right. Like nothing wrong if you want to put your money.
Like I have to reiterate, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Right.
But there's only so much that you can do on the outside of yourself before what's happening on the inside starts to show up on the outside, you
Right.
know? And we're taught, oh, get your hair, make sure your hair is done, make sure you look good, make sure you smell good. Now, yeah, please make sure you smell good. But
Please.
whatever is going on the inside can also affect how you smell on the outside, too.
Correct.
Let's not get it twisted. So we have to get to that deprogramming of
Yeah.
that it's only about us looking good. Don't you? I want to feel good. That is always my goal. I want to feel good in my body. If I don't feel good in my body, I I don't care. I could look drop dead gorgeous, and I do. But
You do.
it don't matter if I drop dead from not taking care of myself.
Right? Correct. Yes. And Evelyn, hey, I'm so happy to see you. It's but yes, people do see it as a luxury expense, except
Yes.
we only get one body. That's the part that I wish people would start wrapping their brains around, is that our bodies are not I mean, it is a luxury, but at the same time, it's not. We are lucky that it's functioning. And there's so many things out there. I could go off on a tangent on this, on so many qualifications of it, but it just comes down to our bodies. We only get this one body. It's not this one life, whether you believe in reincarnation or not. I particularly do. That is me. But there is only one Danielle Desiree in this timeline, right? I would be somebody else. So I need to take care of it. And it's a struggle. I get last night dinner was Garrett's popcorn, and but I was like, you better have some fiber, and so I was snacking on some veggies with it. So, and yes, it really, like, yes, all right, but it's the have you heard about that eating? Oh my goodness, now I'm going off on another tangent, where it's the eat what you want with something you need. And yes, our body is the ultimate most important luxury,
Yes.
and especially if you're mobile bodied everywhere. Like,
Mm-hmm.
let's not take it for granted that we get to wake up every day, that we are breathing, that our limbs work, all of it. There are people out there who don't have that luxury,
Right.
and we are wasting it by saying, like, don't get me wrong, we all know I'm guilty of it, run and get fast food when I need to eat something quick. But if we continuously fuel ourselves, exactly, Mo just started to say, because I jumped, I totally rabbit squirreled. And Mo said it, eat what you want, add what you need. So
That's
like I
right.
was like, I'm eating Garrett's popcorn, but I was like, but let's add some broccoli florets, some cauliflower, some celery, some carrots, some hummus, and then I can pig out on the Garrett's popcorn if I'm still like balancing it out. It's one of my favorite ways to intuitively eat. I like eating with the seasons, but also there's days where you're just like, yeah, no, I'm gonna eat the ice cream.
Yeah.
I mean, last night it was I'm gonna eat the popcorn.
I mean, hey, I had fast food for dinner today, so.
Right.
But when we're done here, I'm probably gonna fix me a nice cup of herbal tea and have like some fruit of some sort, whatever we got in there. Kind of
Yeah.
balance it out, so I don't feel so bad that I ate it.
Exactly. But that's it. I made a sweet potato before this. And so I'll sweet potato and chicken for dinner when I'm done, because you're an hour ahead of me. But
Yeah.
it's, yeah, we've got we've got amazing, amazing vehicles called bodies, and we need to treat them holistically. We
Yes.
need to go back to more traditional medicines. We don't, I mean, like the fact that they run tests now on our microbiome to see what antibiotics that you can't take anymore, that you're resistant to it, tells us how much we're relying on antibiotics as a society. And don't get me wrong, I want antibiotics when I need them, but sometimes they are prescribed when really somebody's just got a cold and you got to run the course. It's a dangerous game.
Yeah,
Uh, but yeah, we got to take care of our bodies.
we do.
Medi-
We do.
the earth has our medicine. We just need to use it.
Yes, that's exactly where I wanted us to go back to, because yes, everything that we need has already been provided on this here earth. All of the things to help us in our day to day, not just in our healing journeys, but this is like preventative care. you
Correct.
know get I want to get to a point where the herbs I use, the oils, the essential oils I use, and whatever else natural that I use just becomes part of my preventative care.
Yes.
And I'm gonna keep talking about this. We have way too much dependency on pills. There's pills for everything. And sometimes the pills are necessary. Again, I'm not saying they're not necessary when they are, but I just think they're overprescribed at this point. Everything has a pill, because it gets to a point where you got pills to make you go to sleep, pills to make you wake up, pills to make you go to the bathroom, pills to make you, I don't know, stay awake all day. Like it's pills for everything. And it's like, hopefully during the course of that time that person spent with their doctor, the doctor also talked about their diet, sleeping habits, exercise, um, this thing right here that we all have that distracts
Oh,
us.
Don't
all
even
day,
start getting me on
every
blue light
day.
energy. Like blue light.
Yeah,
I'm
all
guilty of
day,
it.
every day. Because I'm guilty of it. You'll see one TikTok video, and then an hour later, you're still looking at TikTok, and it's like, what the hell? I didn't mean for that to happen. I'm getting better at like pushing it away so I don't spend so much time on it. But we've gotten to that point, and it's like we're also feeding ourselves those things as well. We're taking in that energy.
I was gonna say you are what you consume.
Mhm.
Doesn't matter if it's food, social media. And don't get me wrong, like everybody has a different if we're talking about TikTok, everybody got their own TikTok, right? What their FYP is. It's I have had to carefully curate my algorithm because yes, I want to be I use it for education and entertainment. And there are
Yes.
some great things out there, but yes, I want to look at little doggies and cats having fun,
Yes.
right?
Yes. And
I
little
want to see
babies and stuff.
homesteading things. I do not need it filled with other things, right? I don't want to play into fear mongering or anything else because there's also that side. I
Yes.
definitely, when someone's like, so what's your TikTok like? And I'm like, black, dogs, natural, like going down the list of like, and now I'm gotten into like cows and horses, like showing up and like taking care of them. And I'm like, I can do this all day. Like, but that's what you want, right? It's we are what we consume. I know that in my spiritual journey, my Baba is always, he's talking about like what you're reading, all that stuff. And he's constantly, are you reading this? Are you reading that? Are you reading this? What are you doing to cultivate everything?
Yes.
So, yes, understand what you're doing. So, cultivate the earth, find the traditional medicine that works because it is a balance. I mean, that's the whole thing, my own personal brand, right? All paths to wellness. There is no one true path. I wasn't even trying to plug. But what I'm saying with that is that
Plug
because
girl.
when what one person deems what they want is their balance doesn't mean the next person does.
Right?
I love meeting people where they're at and going like, be honest, tell me where you're at. Like if you're gonna lie to me, it's the same thing with like going to a therapist. If you're gonna lie
Yeah.
to your therapist, you're just throwing away money, right? If you can't be honest with your therapist, then it is time like no. Same thing with your doctor, acupuncturist, who your trusted healthcare team is. Should it be a Reiki practitioner, a naturopath, a chiropractor, an acupuncturist, massage therapist? Be honest and embrace it because it's about because we could be going at something and going at something. But if you're like, yeah, I mean, like for me, I've learned the post doesn't lie. I'm like, oh, so yeah, I can tell you ate that cheeseburger. But which fine, but don't tell me, oh yeah, I've been eating a clean diet, right?
Yeah.
Or why is this happening and this happening? But you're not telling me that you're staying up till 2 a.m. scrolling on TikTok. Sometimes we have to. We all need to disassociate. I am not knocking it because sometimes it is there. It's about what level of consumption we're having. Same thing with big pharma and Western medicine. It's the level of
Okay.
consumption. There are things that you need and you
Yes.
should, but how do you balance it out?
There you go.
You take your wins and
All
your
goes back to
losses all
balance.
together and find the
Yep.
balance.
Yes. Yep. So this is just a glimpse into the kind of stuff that Danielle and I will spend hours on the phone talking about
Yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
All the
always.
time. And that's really what this is all about when she and I get on here. It's like we're just this giving you a glimpse as to what goes on between she and I when we're talking.
And if there's, and I will say this, if there's something you want us to cover in particular, because we dabbling in everything. I mean, yes, we talk about holistic medicine. We talk about being seen. We talk about issues of being single moms. We talk about everything, but that's the whole thing. It's treating the body holistically. And you want to go to people you want to get trusted information, because Lord knows we
Yeah.
don't want to take everything off of everywhere. And still, even anything we say, I'm gonna say, do your homework. I
Yeah.
do my homework, but do your homework too.
Yep. Yep. Do your homework. Do your homework. Do your due diligence. When you're
Because
looking for practitioners, like when people come to me and talk about Reiki, I'll tell you, like, there's some stuff that I don't feel comfortable giving you Reiki for. I just don't, because that's not my lane. So I'm going to send you to one of my specialist friends that I know that maybe they specialize in dealing with fibroids or, something like that.
right,
Um, or just not even that. Just if it's not me, find someone else that you click with, that you align with. If it's not Danielle, find someone else who you're in alignment with. What we want more than anything, we want you to feel good in your body. We want you to have joy. We want you to just be able to experience life to the fullest. And whether that's you coming to me, you coming to Danielle, however you get there, we just want you there. And believe me, we will celebrate you, coming to this channel and be like, I found an acupuncturist who's also a Reiki master. Yes.
right.
And they helped me overcome, my overeating or whatever. Yes. Yes. That's what we want.
That's what we want. We want as many Black and brown people to feel seen,
Yes.
safe, and heard.
Mm-hmm. That part. Here. That part.
So we're out there though. That's the thing. We're out there. It's hard. You got to look. You got to dig. But find the right person. I truly believe one of the most vulnerable places is on somebody's table. Should it be virtually, if someone's doing distance Reiki, or if it's in person, getting a massage, or even getting
Yeah.
a chiropractic adjustment or acupuncture, it is very vulnerable. You are
Mm-hmm.
on a table. You have to let somebody in. So please, 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 if somebody
Or
doesn't
an
make you feel,
herbalist.
yeah, right, or your herbalist, like you have to be willing. If you don't feel the vibe, this is stuff my patient, they're like, why does it hurt with one person and not with you, or this or that? And I said, honestly, it could be the energetics. I've had it happen.
Yeah.
I've gotten the exact same treatment from somebody else and have had completely different results.
Yep.
And it's nothing personal. If you don't vibe with somebody, listen to that energy. It's not a bad thing. It's just not, that person's not for you.
Exactly.
And that's okay. It really is. Like, there is, it's really okay to say, thank you, but you're not for me.
Mm-hmm.
You have to discern in terms of your wellness, just like dating. I hate to say it, but you have to.
It's
You
true
have to.
though. It's true though, because it's still a very intimate thing.
It's right. You're talking about your life, your
Yeah,
vitality,
exactly.
your happiness.
That's right. Evelyn can't take it personal.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think this is a great stopping point.
I was
Thank
gonna
you
say, I think we
all.
did it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think we did it. We did it. We did it. But thank you all so much for joining us. Once this post officially on the YouTube channel, make sure leaving comments, liking the video, sharing the video. And as Danielle said, and I second it, if you have topics dealing with spirituality, holistic healing of any kind, just let us know and we will cover it. And if it's a topic we don't know, we're going to tell you we don't know. But you know what? We'll look up some stuff and we'll still talk.
Exactly. I'm gonna go find somebody then and be
Right?
like, hey, come on, join
Come
us.
on and talk to us. All right. Thank you all again. We will see you all next time. We love you. Bye bye for now.
Bye.